All right, today by popular demand, we are going to be doing an updated tutorial on the Zeus Bitcoin Lightning Wallet, specifically their embedded node option. I did a video on Zeus, I think years ago now, where I showed how to connect up your own standalone Lightning node, maybe an Umbrel or a Start9, one of these things, and pair that up to the Zeus Lightning Wallet. A number of you have watched that video and have said, well, Zeus now, this wasn't available then, but it now has this embedded node option, which is a lightweight node that runs right on your device. And so today's tutorial is going to focus on that. If you want to jump straight to the tutorial, head to the timestamp that is being displayed on the screen now. However, for those of you that might be a little bit newer to Lightning, I do want to just provide a little bit of context and specifically around self-custodial Lightning versus custodial Lightning. So I'm going to go through that first, but again, if you want to jump ahead, please do so. Let's jump in. Okay, so the critical thing to know and be aware of is that Lightning is different than on-chain Bitcoin. For on-chain Bitcoin, maybe you're not running your own node, but you can nonetheless take self-custody, right? With Lightning, it's different. Those two things are one and the same. Said another way, using the Lightning Network in a self-custodial fashion means that you are running your own node. And now, I recently did a video where I went through a sort of spectrum of options for like what that looks like. So I will flash that video up here on the screen and put it down in the description down below. So definitely check that out because it goes through a number of different ways that we can achieve self-custodial usage of Lightning, whether that's running a standalone Lightning node, whether that's running a node in the cloud, right, with something like Alby Hub or Voltage, whether that's a node on a device, which is what we're going to be covering today with Zeus. Now, there are some clever ways that you can use swaps, submarine swaps, to also enable users to use Lightning in a self-custodial way. Something like Moon Wallet is a great example of that. And some of the stuff that we're working on at my company Jolts looks to take that similar model and sort of innovate on that as well. But again, a pretty battle-tested, proven way now for mobile Lightning wallets is to have this little lightweight node that's on your device. And there's some different nuances to be aware of. If that node is running on your device and your device is off, then that means you can't receive payments. This is one of the sort of, offline receive is one of the kind of UX pain points of self-custodial Lightning. Zeus has some ways you can get around that. For example, you can create a Lightning address in Zeus and have anyone send payments to that Lightning address at any time, and then you can sort of redeem them. So meaning Zeus will sort of hold those payments on your behalf until you redeem them. So there's, some kind of nuance there. But that's sort of like requirement one. Using Lightning in a self-custodial way means you are somehow, shape or form, running a node. The second piece that you need to think about for self-custodial Lightning and that we will look at today is managing payment channels. For those of you that might be brand new to Lightning, I've done a whole intro video on what the Lightning Network is, how it works, these sort of two of two payment channels. So I would highly, highly encourage you to take a look at that if you have not already, or if the phrase payment channel is sort of totally new. But your node on your device needs to have channels connected out to the broader network, and also you need to have liquidity that can come in if you want to receive payments. So again, in today's tutorial, we're going to go through how to do that. Zeus provides a range of tools by which to establish that channel connectivity and effectively onboard to the Lightning Network. So, be advised, there's definitely some additional kind of pieces to think about and manage. Tools like Zeus have come such a long way in abstracting away a lot of that complexity, but some of that still nonetheless remains. But in my personal opinion, I think the UX has come far enough to where it really is worth it, right? And some people will say, well, Lightning, it's only a small amount. I can use that in a custodial wallet like Wallet of Satoshi or, Speed Wallet or whatever. It's like, sure, I get it. I'm not going to morally lecture you that you're an evil person if you use a, custodial tool. But I just think the list of excuses is getting smaller and smaller. So it really is worth it. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and demonstrate just that with the Zeus embedded node option. And so the only thing you will need is your mobile device. You can use either Apple or Android, and you can download Zeus. Make sure you get the right one. You can go to ZeusLN.com and choose the appropriate download for your device. Once you do that, let's jump into the tutorial. Okay, so we have got Zeus downloaded, and you'll see a couple options here. You can change the language. You can get some details on what is Zeus. This advanced setup option is what you would do if you had a standalone Lightning node, maybe an Umbrel or a Start9 or some other node that you're like running, at home or in the cloud, whatever, and you want to pair that up with Zeus. You can do that using the advanced setup. And that first video I did on Zeus quite a while back, that is what I did there. So I'm not going to cover that today. If that is you, take a look at the other video I've done on Zeus. Today we're going to focus on their embedded node option as discussed. So we're going to hit this quick start option at the bottom, and Zeus is going to just do a bunch of stuff for us in the background. It's going to create our wallet, and it is going to then go through this syncing process. So this is not a full Bitcoin node. That is, would not be feasible, but this is a lightweight node that's right here on your device, which is pretty cool. So it's going to take a moment for that node to sync. And so we'll give it a second in order to do that. Okay, so now the syncing process is complete. You can see we're presented with the main homepage here. You've got an overarching balance at the top. Then you have that broken out into what could be a Lightning balance as well as a separate on-chain balance too. You can tap on these and send and receive on Lightning, or send and receive on-chain, or also see your different UTXOs with the coins option there. We're going to take a look at all that in just a moment. This little caret icon lets you see your transaction history. Of course, we don't have any yet. And then along the bottom here, that first bottom left icon that we are on, of course, takes you to this homepage. The Bitcoin option lets you do, hey, I want to receive, 100 sats. You can see this note at the top. We're going to come back to that as well. You've got this next icon, which is going to display your channels. Again, of course, we don't have those set up, but that is going to be a key step. And then finally, you've got this camera icon in the bottom right. You can click to open the camera. It will prompt you the first time you use that to allow you to do so. Let's come back to the homepage. The last thing I want to show before we get into the meat and potatoes is this top left. You can click this and open quite a few different settings. The things we really care about at this stage are the backup wallet. So you can click this option. This is going to present your 24 words. So, your seed phrase, again, keep them safe. Never share this with anyone. Zeus is never going to reach out and ask for this, etc. You can say, I understand, and one by one sort of reveal your words. Now, for those of you that are familiar with seed phrases, keep in mind that this is a slightly different format. It is what's called an AZ format seed phrase. That is what LND uses for its on-chain kind of balance. And that is slightly different than the kind of classic BIP39 format seed phrase. So just be advised of that. You can restore this seed phrase into something like Blue Wallet, which is another mobile wallet for on-chain Bitcoin. And again, keep in mind, these 24 words are going to help you restore your on-chain balance, but they are not going to recover your Lightning channel state. For that, we will come back and go to this embedded node option here, the third row. And you will see right at the top, disaster recovery, automatic backups are enabled. I would recommend you keep them enabled. What this means is that they are going to send an encrypted version of your channel state to the Olympus backup server. You can manually create copies of that data if you wish. It gives you a bunch of options to do that. And so, as a best practice, if you are going to manually back this up, you would want to be taking copies of this after, each channel opening. In theory, after every payment, which again is cumbersome. So you ideally want to just enable those automatic backups. And then if you needed to initiate and restore a wallet, let's say that you need to switch devices to, a new phone or something. In an ideal world, you would close your channels first, and then it's really simple to just restore your wallet. But if you have the open channels, you can do that through the recover wallet option. So, for example, if I came back all the way to here and I clicked that top right, so here's my little wallet, I could create a new one and I could say restore mainnet wallet, and I would do the disaster recovery data that you can see here at the bottom, and then you would have that recovery string that you can get from that embedded node option we were just discussing. So again, I know that's a lot packed into that, but backups are of course very important, and that is where if you needed to create a new wallet in Zeus or in a different device, different phone, whatever, that is where you would go to do that. Okay, let's now get started with onboarding to Lightning. And there's a couple different ways that you can do that. I'm going to assume that some of you watching this, maybe this is your first time doing anything with Lightning, at least in a self-custodial way. And so for those of you for whom you don't have another Lightning wallet, you don't have any other Lightning stuff, one way that you can get started is by first receiving on-chain Bitcoin to your on-chain balance here, and then using that to open a channel. So we can click on the on-chain icon. We can say receive. I'm going to copy this address, and I'm going to come to Blue Wallet. Again, Blue Wallet is just a mobile wallet. You can see I've got a little bit of Bitcoin here, and it's asking me, would I like to paste from Zeus? I would. And so it's pasted in that on-chain address from Zeus. I think I need to select this guy. And I'm basically just going to do the maximum amount, so this full balance here. So I'm going to send the full amount from this on-chain wallet in Blue Wallet to my on-chain address in Zeus. Fees, I can choose. Looks like mempool's a little busier than it has been in the past weeks. I'll say next, and I will go ahead and send. Okay, so of course this is an on-chain transaction, so it's going to take a moment for this to confirm. We can see that outbound, outgoing transaction. Okay, so let's give that on-chain transaction a moment to confirm, and once it does, I will be right back. Okay, so we got a confirmation for the on-chain payment, and you can see that the second you receive your first payment, whether that's on Lightning or on-chain, it's going to prompt you at the top to back up your funds. So I kind of already spoke to that, but if I hadn't, you can go through that same process of backing up your seed phrase. So that is fine. And lo and behold, it has this handy button that also appears. It says move on-chain funds to Lightning. Okay, side note, you have to have at least 150,000 sats to open a channel, at least with Olympus. So I have topped up a little bit more Bitcoin here in my on-chain balance, and we are now set to move on-chain funds to Lightning. So we'll select that handy option. And again, this is the channel interface. So you can connect to other peers by selecting custom here and then opening channel with those custom peers. Again, you could find suitable nodes to connect to in various resources. Amboss is great. 1ml.com is great. But Zeus makes it easy. You've got Olympus right here. You don't need to change anything. Olympus is the LSP or Lightning Service Provider run by Zeus. So it is a well-funded, well-connected node that will allow you to connect to the broader Lightning network. And so we can specify the amount that we want to use to open this channel. And so let's go ahead and just say use all possible funds. And we will go ahead and hit open channel. Okay, so successfully open channel. Now we will need to wait for this to open. Lightning channels by default require 3 on-chain confirmations. So we're going to give that some time to cook. I don't know if we will see that as pending if we come to, yeah, so there we go. So we can see that activity at least in our transaction history. And let's see if we come down to the channels tab here. Is anything pending? Not quite yet. Oh, there is one. So you can see that at the bottom here, you now have open, pending, closed. We can see that one is pending. So we've got this pending channel that is being opened with Olympus. We can click on this and see all the sort of details. And so let's give this a moment to open. Again, channels that are opened in this fashion, i.e. I am opening a channel with someone else, that is going to take the 3 confirmations to fully settle, at which point we can take a look at how to send value on the Lightning Network. And then lastly, we will talk about this question of inbound liquidity. What if you want to receive funds into your Zeus wallet? So we'll be right back. This video is made possible by Bitcoin trading cards, and I am pumped to have them as the first sponsor on my channel. I met Aladdin and the team back at Pacific Bitcoin 2022, and I'm not gonna lie, at the time I thought, okay, cool, a quirky little Bitcoin project, but little could I have imagined at the time how this project would capture imaginations. I've personally used these to orange pill people that I care about in my life. The art is stunning and features Bitcoin artists all around the world. You get high quality Bitcoin education on topics like economics and freedom as part of that, which makes this, as you can imagine, a really special project for me. And I'm not gonna lie, it makes you want to collect these. The community behind this is also truly insane. And I think they have a real shot at bringing Bitcoin to the mainstream. So if you're curious to check them out, head over to btc-tc.com where you can find the different series they've launched. And hey, if you do end up snagging some cards, you'll also get some Bitcoin rewards back on your purchase, powered by Jolts. Here's to ripping packs and stacking sats. All right, so the channel opening has confirmed, and we can now see our full balance in Lightning now, which is great. I can come down to the bottom and go to the channels tab, and lo and behold, I can see my channel. You'll see this little warning, and what that's referring to is this comment that, hey, just, FYI, this channel could be closed at the LSP's discretion, right? Which can happen. They can close the channel at any time. Channels with large balances pushed to the LSP side are more likely to be closed. If you would like to ensure your channel remains open, consider purchasing a channel lease. So you can sort of guarantee the availability of this channel. I don't actually know how often, Olympus is closing channels, but you can go to this purchase channel lease if that's something you want to do, and you can purchase, 1 month, 3 month, 6 month. Again, roughly speaking, it's quoted in the number of blocks. Let's say we wanted to do it for 6 months. We could create an order, and so you can lease that channel. You can specify the number of blocks, which correspond to a rough amount of time, and create the order. I've tried this, and the order takes a long while, so I'm not sure if something is up with this service currently. But that is how you can kind of guarantee that channel remains open. Worst case, it closes and you can reopen it either with Olympus or another node. So we've got our channel, and you can see at the top this summary. We've got a total of 194,000 sats that we can send out. Keep in mind, we don't have any that we can receive in. We will talk about that in just a moment. But let's first take a look at sending value over Lightning. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. Typically, the kind of traditional Bolt 11 invoices of Lightning would have the receiver of the value first create that invoice that the payer is then able to pay. So for example, if I were to come to this other Lightning wallet, my Albi Go, just to demonstrate, and I could say, let's receive 100 sats. We'll create the invoice, and I'm going to copy that invoice and come back over to Zeus. And then I'll go to Lightning, send, and I'll paste in the invoice. So it's correctly detected 100 sats. Pay this invoice. There we go. Payment successfully sent. I can see that payment here in my transaction activity. And I can come back and see that I've received it in Albi. So that's great. Another way, of course, that you can do this is by scanning a QR code. So, for example, I'm going to bring up a QR code here that I will scan. I'm just going to do this on my computer. And let's do it for 250 sats. And so I'm going to, you can do it a couple ways. The easiest way is just to hit the bottom right icon here in Zeus so that you can pull up the camera and scan. And there it is, 250 sats. I'm going to go ahead and pay this invoice. Payment successfully sent, and I see it received on the other end. Additionally, I believe Zeus supports sending to Lightning addresses. So let's try that. Oh, interesting. It supports NFC stuff as well. Okay, I've sent some additional value out. I just sent another payment out to the tune of 50,000 just to illustrate how things change. So I sent a couple different payments out. And so let's now come back to the channels tab here, and you can see that my channel balance has now updated. I now have 144,000 sats that I can still send out. And I now have 48,000 sats that I can now receive in because I pushed value from one side to the other. And so, for example, now that I'm able to receive up to 48,000 sats in, we can demonstrate how to receive some sats, how to create an invoice. So let's tap on Lightning. We'll say receive. And, we can just say 1,000 sats, create invoice. And so if you wanted someone to pay you, you could either have them scan this QR code with their Lightning wallet, or we could copy the string here and send it from Albie. There we go. 1,000 sats, pay. But there we go. We've received basically the 1,000 sats minus 2 sats for the routing fee. And so that is how we can receive value in to our Lightning wallet on Zeus. Now, let's say that we needed to receive more than what we currently have in our inbound capacity. We have about $47 roughly worth, maybe a little bit more than that, worth of inbound capacity. And let's say someone is trying to send you a larger payment than that. You will need more inbound capacity. And so you can do that using this purchase inbound channel link. You can purchase anywhere from 100,000 all the way up to 10 million. And you'll see that when I hit create order, it's going to create another channel, so a new channel with 100,000 sats of inbound capacity. So I can receive now up to 100,000 in this channel and also up to the 47,000 or whatever it was in the other channel. And so I could hit make payment, and I would be able to pay 9,750 sats for the service of having this channel open to me. Now, again, you may say, well, close to 10,000 sats as a percentage of 100,000, like it's a pretty steep, fee for the privilege of getting a channel open with you. And you would not be wrong. Again, you'd probably want, to have a slightly bigger channel so that you can make more use of that channel over time. And furthermore, there are other services that will open channels to you that I do think are a little bit cheaper. Things like LN Big, I think, still does that service, and some others as well. I'll try and leave some links in the description down below. But that is how you can add inbound capacity to be able to receive more value in. And if you ever need to increase the amount of value that you want to send out, you can create another outbound channel. So you can always hit this plus icon and open another channel with Olympus or whatever else. Okay, so we've shown how to onboard to Lightning, how to create channels, how to have channels created to you. We talked through the backup process, importantly, not just your seed phrase, but also the channel state backups. We looked at sending value in a number of different ways, receiving value. There are a couple other settings here that are worth calling out. Again, we took a look at those backup related ones. The node info, again, you can, see your actual node info. If you're using some other external service to have a channel open to you, you can grab your pub key here. That is how you can grab that. And that's how that other entity would know what node to open to. Zeus does support Lightning addresses, which is interesting here. So there's this sort of custodial version via eCash, but then there's also this Zap Locker, the first of its kind self-custodial Lightning address for mobile wallets. That's pretty cool. Okay, so it looks like you can upgrade to Zeus Pay Plus to presumably be able to customize this. But yeah, so you can do custom handles. You can get a point of sale web portal. You can get some discounts on LSP channels. So that is pretty cool. So you can do that for an annual subscription of 80,000 sats. I don't know if I can... Okay, I guess I can. So let's try this out. So I am My Thick Hurricane 47. Let's see if that actually works. So let's go back to Albigo, which does support. So let's say My Thick Hurricane at ZeusPay.com. So for those of you that are newer to Lightning, previously you saw how we sended value wherein the receiver would first create the invoice. A Lightning address is a really nice, more readable, almost like an email address where you can directly push value to that Lightning address. So for example, let's say, 250 sats to My Thick Hurricane 47 at ZeusPay.com. Let's pay it. So you can see how this can start to work with, effectively what's like a contact. Oh, and that is pretty interesting. So how they do it is, keep in mind that the Lightning address itself is custodial in the sense that it's the Zeus sort of web server that is hosting this additional infrastructure required to do Lightning invoices. But you'll basically get it to where you have this like, hey, I can redeem this 250 sats that I sent from my Albi wallet. And so we can go ahead and hit redeem. And there we go. We should have that. Yeah, we should have that now. We can see that we received the 250 sats. So that's pretty cool. So you can set yourself up with a Lightning address. You can pay for a custom one, or you can use the sort of default one that they throw you, and just be advised that, again, anyone can send you payments at any time. You'll just have to come here and redeem those payments when you get back online. You also have some other cool tools here. You have the swaps feature where you can do an atomic swap to go from, for example, Lightning to on-chain. So for example, if I wanted to say, hey, send 50,000 sats, it's obviously going to deduct a fee. And then I could put an on-chain address in this field at the bottom and initiate the swap. So I can swap from Lightning to on-chain, on-chain to Lightning. There's a contacts feature here and some other bells and whistles. But we have pretty much covered the core functionalities of the embedded node version of Zeus. With all that, let's go ahead and conclude today's video. All right, so there you have it. Again, today we took a look at the Zeus Bitcoin Lightning Wallet. We took a look at the embedded node option, and we took a look at setting up, onboarding to Lightning, sending and receiving Lightning payments, as well as some of the different features they have to manage channels, etc. Again, treat this as a learning journey. If this was a lot, or if you're newer in your Lightning journey, take baby steps. You don't have to kind of do everything all at once. But I'm curious to hear, what are your thoughts on Zeus? Are there other self-custodial Lightning wallets that you would like to see future videos on? Let me know in the comments down below. But I hope you found this valuable and insightful. If you did, you already know what to do. Give this video a like. Use the share feature underneath this video. That really does help get this to a broader audience. And if you are so enamored with this content and you want to donate to a pleb, which really does help me continue to make these videos, you can do so in a number of ways. There's the YouTube Super Thanks feature built directly into YouTube, or my preference, you can zip some sats my way on the Lightning Network to my Lightning address, ragermajor@getalbi.com. And for those of you that want to get in touch with me, I'm now working with a number of clients one-on-one on all sorts of topics around self-custody, the Lightning Network, privacy best practices, inheritance planning, and more. You can reach out to me at vita.io/IanMajor. With all that, we'll go ahead and leave things here. As a reminder, every sat counts, especially if it is zipping across Lightning Network rails in your own self-custody. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you then.